Hello, everybody. Can you see my cursor? Okay, take two. You couldn't see my cursor before. This is Figma. Welcome to Figma. If you've already made your free account, this should be your main dashboard you're seeing. And you probably saw with your free account, you only get 3 free projects, but actually you get unlimited drafts. Those 3 free projects are more so like professional collaborative projects that you'd make other people editors on and stuff, and maybe there's some extra functionality involved with them on the maybe on the polishing end, but yeah, you get infinite number of drafts as far as I can tell when I've been using these using Figma for various demos and stuff. So don't think you're limited unless you're trying to go pro. Then you might have to start paying for stuff. And then you get unlimited collaborative projects. But yeah, so previous drafts and stuff you've worked on will show up here. I got a few that students have shared with me of their other projects. You got their file types up here that, you know, when you go to make a new draft, you pick what kind. You can kind of categorize your projects, but we're not getting into that too much, since this is just a little intro project, and we're going to make a new design file. You can do that up here, or hit new on the drafts, hit design file. And this is our main workspace. I'm doing it in the browser, so you can do Figma and work on Figma in any browser, or you can download the desktop version. Your preference. What's cool that it can all be done in the browser as well. And if you're familiar with Adobe Illustrator, a lot of this will kind of start to be familiar to you. And so it's like some of the tools, it's like Diet Illustrator, but it makes up for it with the functionality when you go to prototype things. And so over here on the left, you know, we can name our project. I got another one I'm going to jump to. I've already started some stuff for our demo that I'll do in a second. So you name your project something. The Figma logo here is where your file, edit, view, like top menu is where you get to those things like copy and paste and exporting and saving, or your different views and UI elements you want to show, or object manipulation, doing different text and whatnot. But a lot of this we'll do in the menus down here. This is your layers panel, where all your layers will be. If you want to turn them into pages for, you know, like organization, we can. We're gonna just be, we'll get there. This is the assets section. There's some preloaded Figma stuff that I've never really looked at. But as you make assets in your project, they'll show up here. Like if you make components for animation, set up animations to nest things in other artboards, it'll show up here if you want to refer to them. Yeah, so this is our layers panel where things will show up. Down here's our toolbar. Got a move tool and the hand tool to move and adjust things around. Got our frame tool that will make our quote-unquote artboards. If you're familiar with Photoshop and Illustrator, we call them frames over here in Figma. We got the shape tool here for various, you know, prefab shapes. Pen tool for some custom vector work. Text, little comment boxes for notes, which is more of in the collaborative field. And actions, we'll get to these possibly with this one, but maybe not so much. And what's over here? We got some like dev mode for coding, some design stuff, some drawing things. We don't really use that in here, but there's just more to explore beyond this project. And over here in our panel on the right, our 2 main view modes are design and prototype. Design is when we're laying it all out. And then prototype is when we're adding the functionality to our assets, like making buttons work and stuff. So there's kind of 2 phases to these projects when it comes to, you know, laying out the assets and whatnot, and then coding in the interactivity. the UI and the UX, you could say. So we're going to hop over to where I've already brought in the assets for our project, our little intro project, which is a database app prototype. And what I've done is brought in covers of a book series that I read called the Dresden Files. And so our intro Figma project that I'm going to be demoing today is a database app prototype. Just a simple app that has a table of contents with 20 buttons and then 20 individual pages for that database. You know, think of it like an IMDb, but I've had students do flowers, there was a really cool one where they mimicked the design of seed packets for their flower database. That was neat. I've had someone do like secret government experiments, and they added extra pages beyond the 20, but they were redacted. So it was like, oh, there were some that were missing that you couldn't get to, but they still fulfilled the 20-page requirement for the project. Yeah, so just pick any, 20 items that you could group together and make the project fun for yourself. I really enjoy these books, so even though I've done this database project a few times, it can still be fun. And you can see I've made an artboard over here that these JPEGs I got mine all from Amazon. So there was you can see some file uniformity in the sizes and stuff that I could rely on since they all came from Amazon. But if you get different images from somewhere else, and you can scale things just fine in Figma, but depending on certain situations, you might want some image uniformity. Some people use fan art and stuff from different artists for their projects, and those can all come in all sorts of different file types and sizes and qualities. But I'm not counting too much for potentially potato quality images. It's for me more about the laying out and the functionality and the attempt at an aesthetic in regards to the success of this project. So I got my 20 items for my database app, and I'm going to scooch these over. Or I guess I don't need to really scooch them over. I'm going to hit my middle mouse button. We'll select the hand so I can navigate around my artboard. And you can see all my images here. I downloaded them and then made a folder on my desktop and renamed them all in order of not necessarily which book they are, because I did, because 2 of these are short story compilations, but I named them 0.5. So these are 12 Months is the 18th book that's coming out in January. So it's pretty soon. Everybody's really excited. This is about a wizard that lives in Chicago. It's a cool book series. I recommend it. But I got my artboard over here, and the way I made that, whoops, I'm going to zoom in, Control ± to zoom in, just like most of your Adobe apps. Is I got my artboard button, and you can click and drag and make random sizes, and you'll do that sometimes for components. But I'm going over here to the presets, and I just picked the iPhone, the biggest one. So you can see it's iPhone Pro Max, and you just click on it and it populated an artboard for me. And so now I got my kind of standard size that I want for my app. And I don't require this, but in addition to a title page, a table of contents page, we can make a title page. And so I'm going to put that there. And I can copy paste, Command C, Command V, and get a second one here, and get a table of contents page, and name your pages. Helps things stay organized. And you can see them populating down here. You got different icons, right? You got image icons. We got frame icons or artboard icons. I'm We'll scooch around. Middle mouse button helps me scoot these around. I'm going to move my books over for a little bit. And as you're making these, you know, you want to stay visually organized too. Think of our laws of UX. What was it? Law of proximity? Where I'm going to make this title page and table of contents page over here. They're like little buddies hanging out. I'm going to copy paste. I'm going to kind of scooch this one over. And I'm going to name this, you know, what should I call it? Database 01 is the, because this is going to be the first page of the database. Then I'm going to copy paste 4 times, so we got 5 there. And just kind of depends how you want to organize yours. I'm going to do, like, since it's 20 pages, like a 5x4 grid. And I can select these artboards. And you can see it's nice that, so actually, since it's naming them for us how we want, and I guess I'll rename and not do my O1 extra fancy thing. So if it's numbering it for us, that's cool. And I'll just keep doing that until we hit 20. I was like gonna copy and paste them. Let's see if it does the numbering thing for us. So if I alt click, you know how you alt drag and it'll duplicate things for you. It kind of numbered it for us, but that's out of order for some reason. Maybe if I hold it from the first one. So I don't know why it's doing that. Like 7, 8, 9 backwards. So let's just go straight forward. V, V, V. Okay. That's not what we want. 6. There we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. There we go. So let's, I can do, oh yeah. I'm going to select these. Move them down so we stay all nice and organized. We love organizing things as a species, right? We love a grid, and that's the cool thing about Figma is all this grid snapping stuff they got going on. You see these auto alignment numbers popping up, letting me know that I'm lined up good. Pay attention to all that. We like it. I hope you stay organized. Makes you feel smart. Okay, so if I zoom out, this is what we'll do. Is we're going to lay out our database. So we got a title page, table of content, and our 20 database pages. And typically we'd have a wireframe designed that shows, you know, kind of roughly how we want it to be laid out. But if you already have it in your head, we can just kind of go for it. And I kind of have a rough idea of how I want to lay it out. And that's this video, is just, I'm wanting to lay down the functionality for y'all, enough to get you going, and then the design refinement will be up to you as you continue on with the project. But I just want to loosely, roughly get my assets laid out and show y'all some of the you know, essential pieces that you need in regards to functionality. Okay, so we make a title page, and so actually I need to bring in a logo that I want to use, and the Dresden Files had a short-lived TV show, and I'm going to use the logo from that. Is this a PNG? Yeah. So I'm over in another window right now, downloading that and saving it in my folder. I don't know if y'all can hear me typing, but now I'm gonna drag that over and you're gonna see it populate in Figma, because it's very nice, just drag and drop. I mean, you can do file import if you want, but boom. So I drop that in there. And you see, you know, we can scale it down, just general image handling capabilities. I want this to be aligned in the middle, so you got your alignment stuff over here. I'm gonna align vertically, horizontally. And this would kind of be my title page for now. I think maybe I want it to be bigger, and you know, if you hold Alt, it'll scale from the center. What do y'all think? Like just a bit of a safe margin there. We're still aligned. And let's see, don't want it on white. So I can click on the artboard and you got artboard options here, and I can make the color of the artboard. I can change that to whatever I want. Or you can make the background an asset, you know, add a square onto your artboard, and then you can change the colors of the square over here. You got fill, opacity, the dimensions, the position. You can add some, you know, drop shadow effects or add a stroke to it if you want, if you're using the square not as like a full page background like I am. But I want to make it a little dark, maybe like a dark blue vibe. Well, now I'm wondering, maybe I go just dark gray. I'm thinking because my last database app had a dark blue thing going on. We'll also go through adding textures as well. So that rectangle is not technically in my artboard right now. It's in my layers asset panel, but it's not a part of my artboard, but I can drag it down here. Let's come on. Oh, those will be fun and out of order. I don't know why they're like that. Title page, drop it under the logo, and there it is. So I can do that for everything, but just to keep it, sometimes you want this because sometimes you're using an image for your background or a texture or something like that. But for right now, I'm just going to color the artboards. Maybe I can select them all real quick. Yeah, so I can select them all and pick the fill color and get my dark gray going. Yeah, and the dark gray I want is kind of close to the color of the artboard itself. And you can change the color of your artboard right here. Like just click away from everything and click the artboard itself. And you got a color here. I can darken that to help me kind of visually, you know, distinguish what's going on. So I got my title page. Where are we at? We're at 20 minutes. We've kind of introduced Figma, right? Design wise. And so now I'm going to copy this and paste it over here. Because this is my table of contents page, so I want to, you know, keep the logo present. I'm just going to put it up there. Yeah. And now I want to figure out what my buttons are. I think I want to like make some icons based on the subject matter of the books, thinking long term. But again, this video is just to show y'all the functionality of the project and getting the rough layout going, and from there we'll refine. So I might have a more polished version after I've made this video. We'll see. But so our table of contents needs buttons, is what I'm getting at. And I think I'm gonna go with 2 rows of 10 buttons, and whether, just kind of depends. But the icon I'm wanting to make is kind of like a circle crest kind of vibe. So as a placeholder, I'm going to use like ellipses or circles. And What do y'all think? 2 rows of 10 for now. Or since it might be a living document because he wants to make 23 books. Maybe I come back to it. Who knows? But yeah, I'll do 2 rows of 10. So I can make a circle that will be my button or my crest. And I can copy paste it. I think there's also show, hide, assets, plugins. There's a way to make like a grid of these happen. Add auto layout. Is that what it is? Adding clip content. So I right clicked add auto layout, gap 10 clip. Okay, so you'd have to do the copy paste thing for all 20 buttons, and then you can auto layout it, and it'll let you decide 2 rows of 10, 4 rows of 5 or whatever, and it'll shift them around for you. But I'm more of a manual person. So I'm alt clicking. Yeah. So actually what I should probably do is do the vertical to, you know what? I'm hitting undo and stuff. So 1, Command C, Command, or Control or Command if you're on a Mac or a PC. I'm actually on a PC, but I'm used to Mac, so that's why I'm saying Command. 1, and I'm hitting V to paste. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to drag 1 down. Select those, shift select. We can go to alignment. And I think distribute vertically. Wonder if that's not gonna be enough space for info. But we can extend it and it will scroll for us. We just got to put it back. And you see how I can't see it? If I click this artboard, you can uncheck clip content and it won't clip stuff outside of the artboard anymore. Whoops. So now I want to select these because I want to put some info underneath them. Book 1, book 2, stuff like that. So really, I should do that before I copy and paste because that'll make it easier. So I got my circle. I'm going to make a text box. Book 1. So I'm going to have a little description below it. Maybe I will put the title. Book 1, Stormfront. I'm going to go down to our little typography tool over here. I want it to be centered. I want like a nice, clean, modern font because the book covers use real, like, kind of clean, modern font. That kind of looks like, I'm going to use that for now because it kind of is the vibe of the book covers a little bit. Okay, we'll center that, and then, you know, we deal with font size as we deal with it. Make it a little bigger because you want grandma to be able to see this on her phone, you know, without having to bump up the font size, even though little type is very elegant and attractive and neat, but, you know, some people can't read it. If they can't read it, then that's, you know, not serving its purpose if they can't use your app with ease. That makes sense? That probably makes sense. There's some added little helping alignment things that we can use. I can go to view, and there's a grid, layout guides. What do I want? Dev mode, show AI. Let's see, layout guide. Layout guides, visible. That's not what I want. View. We're looking. I think that is there. See, I got used to Adobe XD, but then they discontinued Adobe XD when they wanted to buy Figma, then they couldn't buy Figma. But Adobe XD had already been kind of canceled, I guess. So I used to have some different... So layout guides hidden. I don't know. So let's see here. 450. Well, maybe I'll use this the logo here. So maybe the 100, and then I go to the width of my artboard. 125. And so artboard, what's 956 minus 125? $831 is where we want this grid line to be. Oh, that was height. 440. My bad. $440 minus 125. $315 is where we want that. We're gonna get this, folks. See it happening? It's too much time. Anyway, okay. And we want to keep this together and this to serve as one button when we start messing with it. So you can Command or Control G to group it. And now it's one item that moves all together. And that'll be one item that where the text and the button work as our button. Once we're putting that all together. And see it snap into my grid how I want. Okay. So now I'm going to copy, paste. Uh-oh, it's doing weird stuff. Undo. Paste. 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 It's like going inside itself. Weird. Okay, so instead of the copy paste thing, because it's like embedding itself in groups, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see they knock themselves out of my frame, but I'm gonna put them back in there. And we didn't have content clipped, so they're fine. Let's align it. Whoop, I did horizontal instead of vertical. That took us off our guide, so we're going to scoot that back over. Okay, and then let's distribute vertically even. What do y'all think? That's pretty good spacing. And with it hanging off the page, but in the frame, it will know to scroll. And you can test that by going over to this play button here and present, preview. You can do present, and it'll give us a little test that we can look at. And if I scroll the mouse, nothing happens. So let me adjust that. Advanced settings, show device frame. How do we tell it to scroll? Do I need to... Oh. All sorts of weird stuff's happening. I gotta fix this. Oh my gosh. Oh. So that got snapped. Center top. It got snapped to like some kind of center constraint. And so that's why it was moving down on us. But so if I extend this artboard, it still knows because it's extended this. Just wanted to make sure it's replicable for y'all, that it knows its frame size. Okay, just by extending it, it allows us to scroll. We'll go with that for now. It's working, don't question it. I'm just making sure what is dictating that it is that size. And maybe that's just because how it was initially. I'm not going to question for now. But I'm going to select our groups, alt click, duplicate them over. And we got 20 now. And I'll have to go back in and adjust those to make them, you know, book 2, book 3. Which I can do real quick. Got book 2, 3. I can change the titles later. 4, 5, 7. There's some tedious data entry elements of this before you can get going into the design and the functionality and stuff. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18, 19, 20. Did I do this too many times? Why is there extra? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I don't know why I have extra. Cool. So it's in there. Table of contents is good. That's what, yeah, I'm kind of liking that. And if I could get little sigils, because he's like kind of the magic wizard guy dealing with a bunch of sigils, I would design a little sigil based on the story of each book, I think. That's a much larger project. Which again, like, you know, the purpose of this project is more of asset management, you know. Don't want you to just toil and spend too much time making all your elements from scratch when what we're learning is, you know, compiling the layout and then adding the functionality. More of a curation rather than making the individual assets. Okay, so our books. How big? We gotta make these little. So do I want it to be, maybe just for now, you know, I do kind of this, do I do like the whole book stretch? Well, that won't work because some of my books, some of the later ones have different proportions. And some of them are like shorts compendiums and stuff. So I'll put it like in the middle there. Take up maybe half the page or something. There's the midpoint of the page. Which, you know, you can make guides and grids and stuff. That will help with that. And it'll kind of snap to the middle there. We can do that for this one. Or you can do grids and guides, I mean, for individual pages, but also just the artboard. And since ours are laid out like this nice and neat, that'll be the halfway point for all of our pages. Unless you accidentally move it around. Okay. Kind of like that. Which I can go over to the dimensions. It's mostly about the height. So a height of 400 is kind of what will work. So I'm going to undo back to where we're over here. And we can uniformly change all these images. Okay, so my books are over there. And 400 is what we want. Let's select that. Let's select this page just to ensure that that's what we're snapping to. You can see it kind of snapping when I'm getting in the region of the midpoint. Okay. And then this one. There. Okay. Got some guidelines. Got all of our books. Let's select those. And when I go over to dimensions, see, because I got it from Amazon, this is nice. All the heights are the same. It's just the widths are mixed. And I want to change that to 400. And boom. Now we just kind of move to where we want to put our little things. We can do that for now. You can see where it's like snapping on the guideline, and we'll just move those up all together as a little group. Or maybe it snaps to that midpoint. Maybe that's nice, because that'll give us room for maybe buttons at the top. And so you can see, like, you can zoom in and do this more meticulously, but I'm trusting the snap tool. I'm trusting the tools a little bit here, which either comes with, you know, comfort with the program or trust in the system. I don't know. I can see they're snapping where I kind of wanted to be. I'm trying to be a little brief to where this isn't a 2-hour tutorial video. Okay, I don't want to accidentally get out of order. Got those there. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. And I'm kind of doing the long form of this part because it's also a little intro to Figma. And just, I don't know, get y'all seeing the workflow here where some parts of it are a little meticulous in arranging before you can get into the fun meat of, I don't know, the graphic designing part of it. This is part graphic design. So is the sketching phase and choosing the assets you want to use. Like instead of book covers, I could have picked fan art that was based on the different books. And if I picked all like, you know, a certain type of digital painting style, that would give my database app a whole different aesthetic. Or I could pick different like commissioned paintings that the publishers have done for these books, or I could do the book cover art without the book info, the text on it and stuff, and just make it kind of image based and stuff. So the curation of the images that you're using for this thing help define the aesthetic of the app itself. Or if I drew them all and drew my own version of what was going on in the books or something, it'd have its own different style. So yeah, so I thought I'd move it up, but maybe not. I kind of like it, kind of like that. And so now, like, this is a database app, so we need data for the database. And so here, you know, we'll make a text box. And we need to put, you know, some info in here. And what info do we put? I had the idea, I'm going to go to the author's website. And he has summaries for each book that I think is just the copy, like the summary that's on the back of the book. But that's kind of what I want to do, is use, you know, the official book description. And for the sake of brevity, I'll just use the first one. So I'm going to copy, I'm over on his website in another window. I'm going to copy the book description, come back over here to Figma. I'm going to hit Control V to paste, and we don't want this font for our copy. You know, it's more of like a logo font. I mean, you can, but copy kind of needs to be a little plain. And then we're talking, these are books, so serif or sans serif. You know, maybe it is like a nice serif font. But it is an app, so maybe I do use like just a clean sans serif or something. Could work. $40. $400. Okay. And so that guide is at 402. Do 442. And so now this gap and these margins on the side are the same. And you know, it's might be subtle, but we can detect a grid. Us humans, you know, we like a little bit of uniformity going on. I'm gonna delete this guy. Can I delete it? Yes. And as I keep working on this database project, I'd copy and paste from the individual books, but just for the sake of y'all seeing the business, I'm going to copy that, click on this artboard, whoops, hit paste, and it should be right in the same, location. All lined up nice and neat. So click the artboard, hit paste, click the artboard, hit paste. We can zoom out and just trust that we're pasting in the right spot. And so right now it's just the description of the book. And I'm going to go to the individual books eventually and put their description in here. And if they go beyond the frame, you know, I'll just extend that frame and you'll have to scroll a little bit. Or maybe I don't use the whole thing. I'll kind of like that it's just all one page. But I could, you know, put the publication date, like the year the book came out. That would be the other thing I'm thinking. Publisher, but all the publisher is going to be the same information. But yeah, I can put the year. So that might be another asset I put in there. Let's see. So I could do that. Could have done it on the first one. Or I can do it down here, like at the bottom. So let's make another one real quick. Published. When did this thing come out? Is it on his page? No. Let's look. Stormfront. I'm on Google. Year 2000. Published 2000. Let's just grab that and we'll center it. And I kind of like it kind of right there for now. Or where's our magic 40 at? That's 880, so it'd be 914. Move this away. Give us 914. There it is. Kind of get that right on the outside of the margin, or maybe it goes on the inside of the margin. So we have that nice 40 pixel margin all around. But again, it might break our format when we find out the other book descriptions are longer or shorter. We'll see. But copy, you know what? Let's try, can we select 2 and hit paste? Y'all see that? We can select all 20 of these and it knows that I want to copy that asset to each page. Hit paste. Boom. That's kind of sometimes a nice sweet thing about Figma. There's a bit of intuitiveness that, I don't know, it's nice. It can be real nice. It like knows what you want to do sometimes. I can delete this guide for now. But yeah, so as I refine this, I would change the year and the title to correlate with each of these books. We're at 48 minutes. We're going long. What's next? We need buttons. So we want to navigate back, forward, into the table of contents. So we need a triangle. And I'm going to make it big because it'll give us this little cool tool where we can drag the radius in and make it kind of a rounded triangle. If you're familiar with Illustrator, you've seen this similar kind of functionality. Oh, you can, oh, that's cool. Adding sides to the polygon if you want with that handle. All right, let me rotate it that way. Do I do white? Yeah, I think I just go with white. And so yeah, let's 40, 400. We're kind of splitting the difference. Kind of in the middle of that space. Okay, I'm gonna Alt bring this one around. Spin it. So now I got my navigation arrows. You know, go forward and backward from one book to the next. Yeah. That's good. I'm going to use this. I'm going to blow this up so I can get the right proportions on this square that I'm going to use for like the return to the table of contents. Button. Kind of cheating and visually lining it up. Can I see how tall that is? Oh, it's 165. 165? No, that's like the frame around it. Bogus. Oh, I could. Radius of 8. Y'all remember that. Now what is it? That's still way off. Zoom in. All right, what do y'all think? Close enough? Radius of 8. We can delete that. Okay, I got some buttons. Next, previous, and then this one will add some text. And let's just say back. And that's fine in black. Let's make it bold, extra bold. Yeah. We'll center that in there. Maybe it's a little bigger. And maybe I like 10 10 10 as the color. Is that what I did? It's a fill. No, that's right. It just looks darker because it's on that lighter background, but actually, no, it is. That's weird. Why is that different? What's happening? Maybe it's doing it this frame. Oh no. Oh, I was picking the artboard's 10 10 10. Okay, so 23. I'm looking at this fill hex color over here. All right, and over here we want, there we go. That's what we want. And I'm going to group this. And you can name your groups. Like we can go over here, rename, back button, polygon, back arrow, rename, forward arrow, There we go. We got our 3 buttons, and we can shift select all of these, Control C or Command C on your Mac. Let us pick all those, shift select, pick all of those, hit paste. And look at that, we got buttons on everything. Well, we got it. That's basically our layout. There's lots to do. Could work on the proportions of these buttons, the spacing of our images. You know, I might want that to breathe more now that I'm looking at it at this scale, because I got this nice 40, 40, 40 thing going on here around the margins, and then that rule's getting broken up here. It's got lots to do there, but that's for me to tinker with later. The next thing for y'all is to prototype, where we tell it what to do. Let's go into prototype mode. Let's go over to our table of contents. We pick this button, interaction. Oh, add interactivity with make, Figma make. So that's some new plugin, you know, where they're adding more animations or something, but we just want simple crossfades and stuff. Interaction, book 1 button. We want that to on tap, navigate to. And see, this is very nice that I named all my frames, right? Because they're kind of out of order stacking wise, because they are out of order over here. But book 1 goes to database 1. Oh, I didn't name them right because the 0.5s. We'll get there. All right. It'll get confusing for me, but you'll see the flaws of not, you know, properly labeling things. Anyway, book 2, interaction, on tap, navigate to, database 2. No, it'll work. I just have to name these titles different, because right now they correlate to 20. All right, so no. That'll be me to fix later. So it'll be fine. No worries. Book 3, interaction plus, on tap, navigate to, database 3. So everything's lined up just fine right now. Interaction, you see that, on tap, action, navigate to, destination 4. Look, our animation that we're just doing is instant. Actually, maybe we do a dissolve. So I'll go back to these. I can change it to a dissolve. There's different stuff like smart animate I've gone over in some of the other tutorials I've done. Make sure that's dissolve. Make sure that's dissolve. See, sometimes you get into this prototyping phase, and it gets to be a little bit of IT data entry kind of stuff. Throw on a podcast, you know, throw on your favorite book on tape. Navigate to, so that's 5 to 5. Or listen to me say what I'm doing out loud. Navigate to 6. So we're cruising. Wait, I gotta change it to dissolve. I didn't do that. So you gotta be sure to do all your dissolves, or you have to go back and check everything. Book 7. On tap, navigate to 7, dissolve. 8, navigate to 8, dissolve. Now, nine, dissolve. On tap, navigate to 10, dissolve. I could speed through this, or y'all could skip ahead, or maybe folks like the long form. Who knows? 11, dissolve. 2, 12, Navigate to 12. Dissolve. 13 on tap. 13 dissolve. 14 on tap. Navigate to 14, dissolve. We're almost there. Navigate to 15, dissolve. Did I do that right? 14, 13, yes. Navigate to 16, dissolve. Navigate to 17, dissolve. Navigate to 18, dissolve. Y'all can see when I'm clicking away, you can see the noodles that are showing the prototyping navigation that we put in. 19, dissolve. Interaction. Navigate to 20, dissolve. We're all there. So yeah, when I click on just the page itself, you can see the noodles are showing where all the interactivity is going. So it's kicking us over to each of these pages for each of those buttons. We could fire up table of contents, hit play. Y'all can see when I click on that book, it goes to our page. And right now, we don't have our buttons prototyped, and you can see this wouldn't be good on iPhone because of the notch up there. I think R refreshes it. Yeah. Two, book 2, book 3, book 4. I should probably put the title in here. That'd probably be good for book 3, Summer Night, published 2000, and then a description. So that's already text edits I can be making. Hit R. Okay. Now I go to the navigation. And I'll just do it for a few so y'all get the gist. So we're still in prototype. This back button, its interaction on tap will be to navigate to our table of contents. Dissolve. If you hit the back arrow on page 1, does it go back to the database, to the table of contents, or that means that person probably wants to loop back around to 20? Because they could hit the back button to go to the table of contents if they want. Does that make sense? We'll do dissolve. The next button would be navigate to database 2, dissolve. And so I'll do 2 and 20 just so we can see the loop happening. So you can see it's going to the next page. We'll go over here on tap, navigate to table of contents, dissolve, interaction. That navigates to 3, dissolve. That one, the interaction, navigates back to 1, dissolve. Let's skip down to 20. This back button, navigate, table of contents, dissolve. That one on tap. That one go to 19. Dissolve. This one at 20. Navigate to, loop back around to 1, dissolve. Okay. This Dresden Files logo, prototype on tap. Navigate to table of contents, dissolve. There's auto animate. You can try out the different animations and stuff if you want. If you hit the logo, maybe you want to go back to the main screen, navigate to title page, dissolve. So yeah, let's look at our functionality here. Title page. There's this flow starting point that you can make as you get more complicated projects and you want a specific part or spot that you want the flow to start. This looks like it's our default flow 1. Or actually, flow starting point flow 1 is there. We can start it from here. And you just name it flow 1. But it's kind of necessary for this kind of simple thing. So here's our database, right? So we can go here, hit play. I'm going to remove the iPhone. I wish I could make it the default where there's no device frame. I bet there is, but anyway. Here's our little Dresden Files app. Get into the database. We'd have some cool sigils for our buttons based on what goes on in each book. It's a Procreate project for myself for later. I can scroll because we extended that artboard, and if I click on book 1, it goes to book 1. Hit the back button, it comes back to the table of contents. But I can also navigate back to book 20, and not much changes because right now it's the same copy, but we could fix that. And then this goes back to 19, page 19. This is book 18 technically, but we don't have any functionality on here, right? We haven't done that yet. But book 1, so there's book 2, back to book 20. It loops around. We can hit back. And that's it. You know, from here, it's just continuing to prototype your navigation buttons on each page. And then for me, continue messing with my typography and info on each of my pages. And this looks all confusing because this is prototype mode. You're not designing anything here. You're just wanting to see the flow. And you could spread it out to make the noodles less crisscrossy and confusing, but I'm okay with it right now. So back to design. This is where I can make my edits. But yeah, that's the gist of this initial database project. I know it's a long video, but you know, if you grok what I'm doing as I was like doing my individual table of contents buttons, you can kind of skip ahead and skim through it. But sometimes the long form kind of helps you, I don't know, get immersed in the medium for a minute. Watching somebody click through some things to just get a better sense of where things are and see other people's flow. But yeah, so that's my Dresden Files books database app prototype. And I look forward to seeing what y'all's look like. See y'all later.